Mr. President, thank you for the opportunity to interview you, and congratulations on becoming President of China. There's a long-standing relationship between China and Africa. What do you see the role and influence of China in Africa? And what role will China play in the peaceful development processes in Africa?
China and Africa are as close as one family. People of my age in China grew up in the warm atmosphere of China-Africa friendship. We all have a strong interest in Africa. We know by heart the names of the older generation of leaders of some African countries, and we are all familiar with the memorable stories of China-Africa friendship, such as the construction of the Tanzara Railway. Both being members of the developing world, China and Africa share extensive common interests. In recent years, China and African countries have built on their traditional friendship and made notable progress in advancing their relations. While pursuing its own development, China has consistently supported Africa's peace and development to the best of its ability and spoken up for African countries in the international arena. China-Africa cooperation has contributed to Africa's growing international standing and attracted greater international attention to and input in Africa. No matter how the international landscape may change, China will continue to support and promote Africa's efforts to achieve peace, stability, prosperity, and development, seek strength through unity, and participate in international affairs on the basis of equality.
And besides resources, what other areas of interest does China have in Africa?
As long as we keep advancing China-Africa cooperation, we will make even bigger achievements. I want to point out that China-Africa cooperation is an all-round cooperation. China attaches importance to growing friendly relations with all African countries, irrespective of their size, strength, or wealth. And China treats all African countries as equals and actively develops win-win practical cooperation with them, regardless of their resource endowment. We will speed up the implementation of the outcomes of the 5th FOCAC Ministerial Conference and strive for the comprehensive and balanced growth of our relations with Africa to the benefit of the people on both sides.
How do you see the impact of the rising emerging market economies represented by the BRICS countries on the existing world architecture and global governance system?
A great number of emerging markets and developing countries, including the BRICS countries, have enjoyed fast economic growth. They have become an important force for world peace and common development, and have played an important role in tackling the international financial crisis and boosting global economic growth. This is in keeping with the trend of our time towards peace, development, cooperation, and mutual benefit. The global economic governance system must reflect the profound changes in the global economic landscape, and the representation and voice of emerging markets and developing countries should be increased. In recent years, the G20 summits have played a prominent role, and the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank have carried out quota reforms. These are important steps in moving forward reform of the global economic governance system in the right direction. Emerging markets and developing countries hope to see an improved global economic governance system that better meets the needs of the global productivity growth and facilitates common development of all countries.
You will soon travel overseas as the new Chinese president. There's a lot of expectations from the international media about this trip, and you'll also attend the Brics Summit. What are your expectations of the Brics Summit?
BRICS cooperation will help make the global economy more balanced, improve global economic governance, and promote democracy in international relations. China hopes that through the Durban meeting, the BRICS countries will deepen partnerships, improve cooperation mechanisms, strengthen dialogue and cooperation in various areas, tap the potential of practical cooperation, and send to the international community a positive message of unity, cooperation, and win-win results. China supports the South African presidency in prioritizing the establishment of a BRICS development bank, contingent reserve arrangement, business council, and think tank councils in preparation for the meetings. We hope that the meeting will produce positive results in these areas. During the Durban meeting, a BRICS Leaders Africa Dialogue Forum will be held. China supports BRICS countries in increasing dialogue and exchanges with Africa to foster partnership, safeguard common interests, and realize common development.
Looking ahead, what role will the Communist Party of China play in China's development, and will it push forward new reforms?
Reform and opening up is the defining feature and source of vitality of today's China. It is crucial for our effort to build socialism with Chinese characteristics. Without reform and opening up, China would not have come this far, and nor would we have a brighter future. I have stressed many times that reform and opening up is an ongoing process that must never stop. Issues that emerge in the course of reform and opening up can only be resolved by pressing ahead with reform and opening up. Under the new historical conditions, we must make new breakthroughs in reform in order to open up new prospects for development. We will enhance top-level design and overall planning and advance structural reforms in economic, political, cultural, social, and ecological fields in a balanced way. We should meet challenges head-on and boldly sail through uncharted waters. We should remove all systemic and institutional barriers that impede our effort to pursue development in a scientific way, stimulate the whole society's creativity, and forge ahead with our undertakings on all fronts.
China is now the world's second largest economy. What changes will this bring in China's dealings with the world?
It is true that China is now the world's second largest economy, but its per capita GDP remains much lower than the world average, and there's still a long way to go before China can become rich and strong. Some people in the world worry that China will seek hegemony and bully others once it becomes strong. Such concerns are unnecessary. China has reaffirmed its solemn commitment to the international community many times that it will follow the path of peaceful development and will never seek hegemony or expansion. To use a Chinese idiom, a gentleman never goes back on his word. We mean what we say, and what has happened shows that China has kept its word. In the meantime, we hope that all countries in the world will pursue peaceful development and work together to advance world peace and development.
You also recently spoke about the Chinese dream. What is China's dream for the world?
The Chinese people have valued the concept of harmony without sameness since ancient times. We hope that countries and civilizations will carry out exchanges on equal footing, learn from each other, and achieve common progress. We hope that people of all countries in the world can share the fruits of global advances in economy, science, and technology, and have their wishes respected. And all countries can make united efforts to build a harmonious world of enduring peace and common prosperity.
You are the new president of China. What's it like to be the leader of such a big country of 1.3 billion people?
During my meetings with some foreign leaders, they asked me in amazement how to govern such a big country as China. Indeed, it is not easy to govern a country with 1.3 billion people. To get to know the situation is already a difficult task. I often say it takes much effort to know China, and it is not enough to just visit one or two places. China has 9.6 million square kilometers of land, 56 ethnic groups, and 1.3 billion people. Thus, to get to know China, one needs to avoid the mistake of drawing conclusions based on partial information. As an ancient Chinese proverb goes, prime ministers used to be lowly officials. Great generals rise from the ranks. The system for selecting officials in China requires local work experience. For instance, I have worked in the rural areas as the party branch secretary of a production team. I have also served in county, municipal, provincial, and central governments. Extensive experience gained from working at community level enables an official to develop a people's perspective and know what the country is truly like and what the people need. To accumulate experience and professional knowledge and enhance skills and capabilities in the course of practice is essential to doing one's job well.
Can you tell us more about your daily life and work, and do you have time to spend with your family?
As for my workload, you can imagine that being in a position like mine, one hardly has time to himself. There are so many things that I need to address. Naturally, I prioritize my tasks. Many hands make light work. Within the central leadership, we have an effective set of work mechanisms. We each have our own responsibilities, and at the same time, we work together in concert to ensure that the job gets done, and done well. Although I am very busy, I try to find some leisure time. Whenever there is time, I would get together with my family.
Brazil will soon host the World Cup. Which team do you support?
I wish to congratulate Brazil on hosting the World Cup again. Unpredictability is what makes a sport match exciting, especially a football match. During the last World Cup, we had Paul the Octopus. I wonder if next year there will be another octopus who can predict match results. The Brazilian team has a home court advantage, and I wish them good luck.